Welcome. This is the November 30th meetup of the Coast Division of the PCR NMRA. We have a fairly small group. This is obviously the Saturday after Thanksgiving, but we are having a little meet today and wanted to talk through just a few things. First, coming up next weekend on December 8th is the Coast Auction, and that will be in the Alameda Senior Center. We have over 300 auction cards out at this point. Dr. Craig, so we have going to have a great turnout in terms of items. If you haven't been back to the auction for a while, or if you're new to the NMRA and haven't been to an auction, this would be a great auction to come to. It's at the Mastic Alameda Senior Center, which is right off of 880. You just kind of go across the bridge onto the island, and it's up a little ways. We'll start there about 9:30 in the morning. Bring your items in. You can look at items 10:30 to 11:30. We're going to have a little bit of a weathering clinic, an opportunity to come in and do some weathering and some hands-on weathering. At this tent, the intent is to provide lunch, though I am still looking for a volunteer to go pick up the lunch. I've done that the last couple of times. It gets pretty harrowing, quite frankly, from my perspective, to try to do that and keep everything on track. So getting a lunch volunteer would be great. It's really just a matter of driving and picking up the lunch. I think we're probably just going to do Costco pizzas this time because it's close and fairly easy. So that'll be next Sunday, a week from tomorrow. So plan on coming to the auction. We are doing the great train shows. There are two of those in the Bay Area. Pleasanton is the following weekend, the 14th and the 15th. And San Jose is February 8th and 9th. So we'll have a booth there. We'll do some recruiting there. If you're interested in participating, click on the URL here or send me an email, one or the other. And if you participate, you'll get a free access into the train show. And if you'd like, the Coast Division will reimburse you for your parking. They do charge parking at these events. So basically come in and spend 3 or 4 hours at the booth talking to people about becoming NMRA members, and then you've got some time to go do other things at the show. Anyway, so that's December 14th and 15th, and February 8th and 9th. Next year, the Bay Area SIG weekend is January 31st to February 2nd. That's the weekend between the final divisional games and the Super Bowl. That's the off weekend in football. This year, the SIG weekend will actually not be in the Bay Area. It'll actually be up in Sacramento at the California State Railroad Museum. And that's a great venue to go to for this event. If you haven't been, a little bit about, the opportunity to learn about operations. If you're an operator, an opportunity to go do some operations and hear some great presentations and clinics. Importantly, it will also be available virtually. John and Sydney have been producing that for the past 3 or 4 years, 3 years, I think, virtually. So you'll be able to join it virtually. So check that out. The Coast Winter Meet, we are scheduled, and Larry is here. We're scheduled for February 15th up at the Golden State Railroad Museum and Model Railroad Museum in Richmond. And that'll be fairly similar to the ones we've done in the past in the South Bay, where we'll have a couple of clinics in the morning and some layout tours in the afternoon. Finally, part of that, Jesse Walden is hosting a square foot challenge. And so if you're interested, build a square foot challenge. One of the nice things is you can build a square foot challenge for this event in February and then hopefully take it in March to the PCR convention, which is kind of the final event I have on here, which is the PCR convention. This year it's in San Luis Obispo, which is a great venue. Not as many layouts, quite frankly, open as we had in the Bay Area, obviously, but there are some really great prototype and other railroad tours available, a ride over the Cuesta Grade, some really cool places to go to. Actually, they've recruited some of the MMRs that do the modeling with the Masters series at the national conventions, and they will be there doing some convention or doing some clinics. So really cool opportunities. If you haven't signed up for this convention, Go ahead and sign up for it. Want to make it into a really good convention. It's a really reasonably priced hotel, includes parking and breakfast, etc. So with that, I'll just open it up to everybody to talk about their modeling and anything that anyone would like to talk about.
I got a question. For those of us that aren't in the know, what's the big deal with the quest to grade?
It's just going over the Cuesta grade in a train. It's a fairly high pass grade that you go over there going down to into San Luis Obispo.
Okay. I just,
So
I
and
know
I
there's a lot of hoopla about it. I just don't know the history.
yeah I don't know enough to know why the hoopla is great. It's just of course it may be a lot of hoopla and you get there and it wasn't that interesting, but who knows?
Well, it's
Uh,
the train goes through a series of tunnels and switchbacks sort of as it goes up and then down the grade. So it's pretty spectacular railroading.
Okay.
Yeah, and doesn't it have a horseshoe curve around a prison or something?
it may be. I know it goes up. I don't know what the grade height is, but I know the road grade is fairly high through there. When you go over the road, you come down into San Luis Obispo from. But
Yeah, I know there's one spot where it's like a canyon and the railroad is up on the top on the west side, and then on the east side of that canyon, you can watch 101 as it descends down.
Yeah, I know it was pretty popular that the first tour sold out and they opened the second one.
yep. So anyway, the rail here's. Hang on, I'll go ahead and share this because it is whenever you want information, where you always go to is you go to Wikipedia. So it crosses at 1,522 feet and has 2.2% grades. So
Okay.
here's the horseshoe curve and some of the passes on it. So it sounds like it's a pretty cool pass. Not it's kind of since I don't think you can ride through the other passes downside, the Tehachapi and that it's an opportunity to ride on a fairly cool chunk of railroad. So I think what they're doing is they're just taking the train up there northbound and then taking a bus back south, as I understood it.
I haven't signed up for it yet, so maybe I'll sign up.
Yeah, I think I signed up. I didn't sign up in time for the Thursday one, so I'm signed up for the Friday one. So if that's either a good reason or to sign up or not, I am going to be on there. So
Okay.
you may not want to.
I'll have to think about it.
Um, yeah, it should be interesting. I think it's going to be an interesting convention. A little bit different format. There's no formal dinner. Um, Sunday breakfast is going to be kind of replace the formal Saturday night banquet dinner, and kind of trying to make it a little more effective in terms of clinics, etc. So we'll see. It's I think playing around with trying to figure out what's the right um, structure for a convention is a challenge still.
Hey, Phil, do you have clinicians signed up for February 15th?
I do not. So that was actually one of the things that I had they were talking about was clinicians and volunteers. So anyone who is interested in doing a clinic at that one would be more than welcome. And Larry, if there's anyone from your club that would like to do something, I think we'll have time to do two clinics. There's only one room, so we can't do parallel clinics like we've done in the South Bay where they've got that boardroom in the back. And at the Richmond facility, they have a nice front room that we can set up and probably have 25 people in pretty easily because I know we've done the SIG meets there. But there's only one, so we'll probably do two clinics. Do a 10 o'clock clinic and an 11 o'clock clinic, then have some lunch at noon, and then have some layouts open in the afternoon. And they'll kind of be some of the North Bay layouts too we can find to be open.
I might be able to pull something together with Seth. We're working on a project at his place, and Kind of
Good.
like that Sims Metal Clinic about how we're, scratch building an industry from prototype photos.
Yep,
So
that's
let
good.
me see if we can do that. The other thing I can maybe do if you want, there weren't a lot of people in Santa Clara, and I did that little video, the cab ride video.
Yep,
I
yep.
could replay that if you want, if it wouldn't bore people.
Well, that'd be probably good too. Yep,
I think people enjoyed the cab ride video.
yep. Yeah, it's and I've kind of thought about what we could do here. Actually, I just did a video. I haven't even posted it yet, which was based on the YSL from last weekend. So I don't know if that's something of interest to start playing on these kind of on our Saturday things like that. On new tracks, we've been doing videos from the narrow gauge convention, and I have those too, so we could actually look at those if we wanted to. The first couple we had, one was on the or one was on the contest they had there, which obviously the narrow gauge contests are pretty good. And then there were a couple of videos on the East Broad Top. One which was kind of a speeder tour, and the other was around the shop tour of the East Broad Top. And then we got some layout tours. I don't know. Those might be things we actually think about doing on these Saturday things if there's interest.
Yeah, I don't know if it's better to do them on this or send people the link and let them watch it.
Yeah, that's true. You can watch it. You can watch it there. So, yeah, the last weekend, Friday set up, and then Saturday, John and Sydney came to Dave's Gill's shop at Roth Woodworks down in San Jose and set up the YSL for the last time. And Dave got to come down and do a requiem for it.
So where are the modules going?
So they're going different places. A couple of the modules, about 3 or 4 of the modules are going to people that built them or are taking them over and going to continue to use them. There are a set of modules, about 4, that may end up or kind of being held to maybe go up to a museum in Vacaville or some sort of place in Vacaville. And then there are probably not necessarily modules, but 2 of the modules, the if you remember the layout, there's the bridge module, and then there's the sawmill module. We're going to try to take those and reconvert them to work with the California Central Coast modular layout, so that those sections can actually be reused. And then like the Tuolumne fruit shed, we've already set that up, so that's been moved over onto into a module on the CCCON 30 layout.
Oh, good. So a lot of it gets preserved.
Yeah, I think almost all of it. The only things that are not, as I understood it, that are not being preserved are the quarry module and the lumbering module. Those 2 really just seemed like there wasn't a lot of interest in trying to keep those by the folks that were involved. But I think everything else will be pretty much preserved. The power system we've already converted over to be used with the California Central Coast. Other pieces just will get reused. So
is that little loading thing where you're loading narrow gauge gondolas onto standard gauge flat cars, is that somehow being preserved?
I think that was part of Scott May's module, if I remember correctly.
I know it's not prototypical, but that was, one of the more memorable scenes on there.
Yeah, I think that isn't that Scott's, Dave?
Yes, it was. But he had 2 sections, and my understanding is when trying to unload it from his truck last Saturday night, it tipped and fell and broke up fairly bad. So I don't know how much is left, but I'm not sure which of his 2 modules were involved in that crash.
Yeah, I think it was the one that's got the I think it was the one with the city side on it. There was, he actually put, um, yeah, this was, hang on, I'll share my screen here again. This was what he put up on the Facebook page. Was right here, back here in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, the turntable over here, I can't see if it got damaged, because I think the way this works is that this module here goes to the wall. So it was that module that fell over. That's the one where the city goes, and the turntable is right here. So I don't know if the turntable got damaged or not. But yeah, it was pretty good. Like I said, I'll put it up on my web page. I haven't done it yet, and then there'll be, of course, a TSG video that'll come out that'll be their typical quality. But talking to John, he said it's probably not going to be till next year because he's just way behind on editing. So it took, they were there, what, Dave? They were there for at least 5 hours
Yeah,
videoing,
yeah.
right? Maybe more like
maybe
6.
more like 7 or 8.
Yeah, it was.
They were there at 10 o'clock when, well, I guess it was 10:30 when I got there, and they were still there 4 or 4:30.
Yeah, we didn't break up till 4 o'clock ish. So it was yeah, it was probably at least 6 hours of videoing. And if you've never done it, though, that's it's not a exciting process. Let's put it that way. It's basically setting a scene up. Actually, in the video, I took a little bit of video of them doing a video of a scene. So there's a little bit of that in the video that I've got. And it's more just of an overview of the layout, which there are a number of those up on the internet. So, because that was obviously was a very popular layout through the years. Congratulations to Dave and the group that built it originally. So,
Yeah, I don't have anything else, Phil.
no, it's Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
I'm building cabinets, so it's not really exciting modeling. I've got, I built a module. I took some pictures, but I was going to go through it at some point, and I got all the electrical done. The underside electrical, the base wiring is getting done. And then I'm building another module. It's a corner module, but it's got a full cabinet underneath it. Figure if you're going to put a corner module in, just will make it into a nice storage place. So ends up lots of storage. Um, one thing I was thinking, it might be interesting for some folks here. It might not be interesting, but it might be interesting to think about is we talked about doing this weathering clinic. We could probably get 3 or 4 people to bring in fast tracks jigs and do a workshop clinic. Like we could do it, either when we have an auction, or do it in the back room down at the South Bay Historical. Do a fast tracks clinic on where you actually build turnouts, because building turnouts is actually one of the requirements. So I think it's the engineering AP certificate.
Yeah, I think it's
civil engineering. Yeah.
Civil engineering. Yeah. So you have to build like you have to build a turnout, 1 or 2 turnouts, and you have to build something like a crossover. And so, I was thinking if you wanted to, we could actually do that. I saw that the Sierra guys actually have a kind of a kit they put together with the fast tracks jigs and that you can borrow, so you can complete that requirement. So again, it's something we may want to talk about from a coast perspective. I mean, I have a set of jigs for number 5 turnouts in ON30, I'm sure other people have them for different HO ones. You could actually do something where people could come and, bring some rail, or you could buy some rail and have a little charge for it, but actually have somebody walk through and build a turnout, at a clinic to actually help fulfill that requirement.
Yeah, I've got a jig I can, help
Yep.
with.
I'm sure between the folks, in the division, we probably have 5 or 10 easy. So, if we could get 3 or 4 or 5 together and have people sign up ahead of time, in an hour and a half, 2 hours, you should be able to build at least 1 or 2 turnouts.
Yeah, it's going to take the whole morning just as people kind of learn what to do.
Learn the process. Yep.
Yeah. The first couple take a while.
Yep. So.
But you could run it sort of like a lending library. The jigs.
That's what they're doing up in, and this is kind of a from an AP perspective, that's what they're doing up in the Sierra, because I saw their Sierra letter, it had a thing about it. So we may want to put the same thing together for the coast to try to help people do it. If somebody has a set of HO jigs for an HO 5 or 6 turnout and wanted to sell them for cheap to the division, we could maybe think about having the division buy them and have them in a lending library. By the way, I have 3 boxes, as talking about lending libraries. This is kind of one of those things that somebody wanted to take it on. I don't feel like I'm at the point I can take it on personally, but if somebody wanted to, I have 2 boxes I bought of molds, and I have a 3rd box, which is the one I had of molds, and can contribute most of those to a divisional mold library if we wanted it. And this is not like, black mold in your house. These are, rock molds.
Yeah, Bragdon molds are the.
Yeah, a lot of them are homemade. The ones I got them from the guys up in Menlo Park on the peninsula. They sold them at the auction, and I bought them because I was thinking about having or somebody could come in and pick 10 molds. We put a number on them. Then when they got done, they'd bring them back. It would be interesting to think about what kinds of things people would want to be able to borrow. And it strikes me there are 3 things that would be interesting. One is the molds, 2 is the like fast track jigs, and then the 3rd is, if anybody's built, a model and built good jigs for the model and would be willing to share those jigs if someone else wanted to build it. So I know, Wayne, one of the ON30 guys, built really good jigs when he did one of the Hunter Line bridges. And that's the other thing. If somebody's built some jigs and has taken care of them and would be willing to loan them out for a specific model. But anyway, something to think about. If we had someone who wanted to volunteer to kind of help drive that, it'd be great. We could set it up online where there was a place to sign up for them and then get them. The individual lending, I thought is interesting. The challenge is you have to try to mitigate what happens if something gets damaged, which is kind of a challenge. Well, this could be a short meeting.
Yeah, it was going to be a short meeting, Phil.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil.
That's good.
Yes. For the event at the Golden State Mall Railroad Museum. Yep. If you need a clinic, you might want to keep mine in your back pocket, because I can do it, but I don't think it's going to be a very popular one, because I'm talking about a new aspect, what I call a new aspect to operations that hasn't been developed or anything, but it's more issuing of a challenge to people to try to develop something on it. So if you need a clinic, if you can't fill in the clinic spot, you might want to keep mine there, and I can do it.
Cool. No, that's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you did that. Didn't you do that clinic at the convention?
At the last convention, yeah.
Yeah, because I seem to remember I saw it and went through it. You were talking about, yeah, it's an interesting thing to extending operations to the customers that are there and how you manage that. And
Right, exactly. You know, are your operations meeting your customers' needs?
Right.
And you know, we like to operate our model railroads like we're operating a real railroad, but a real railroad has to, you know, focus on the customer. So therefore, real railroads measure their operations against customer satisfaction, and that was my job at Southern Pacific. So I'm challenging model railroaders. Okay, are you doing that? Are you actually satisfying that little guy in that little building who's the shipping manager? Are you keeping him happy? And so,
what you could say is, since we're shipping, virtual products on a virtual railroad with virtual reality to virtual customers, we know they're virtually happy because we did virtual surveys that proved it.
yeah, well, I try to give them background as to how the real railroad
No,
measures all that. So, you know, it's
no, I completely understand. It's
yeah.
it is very much having been on the other side where you were, part of an organization receiving stuff, how it got structured when things go wrong, how quickly it can cause issues is really obvious. So, um,
Well, you know, it was back in the day when I was there. Now, today with precision scheduled railroading, you may be keeping the big shippers happy, but the little shippers I hear are very unhappy. So,
well, and by the way, that is a reflection of businesses tend to optimize their operations for profit, and business that you don't see as being profitable, you tend to move away from as a business. And if you look at the railroads, that's definitely, in the major railroads, they've moved away from unprofitable business, less than carload, moved away from it. The things that are profitable are high bulk, high quantity, specific location, 700 miles or more kind of distance. And so, the business model's gotten optimized to that, and the other business has gone somewhere else because other people can optimize it more effectively. And I think you're absolutely right. So small shippers is more of a challenge. So anyway, welcome, Jonathan, Rich, Mr. Jorgensen. Everyone's having a happy Thanksgiving or day after. Did anybody take advantage of any of the Good Friday sales? I saw my Outlook sorted a lot of the Good Friday modeling announcements into my other. Beyond Scenic Express, I saw a couple other people were having. Frenchman River was having a Black Friday sale. I think somebody else was having a Black Friday sale.
Sierra West is also like a Cyber Monday.
Ah, there you go. We need to.
And I think McCarville Shops has a sale on this weekend on HO and O scale models.
So good opportunity to buy that model you've been looking for.
who is that having the sale?
McCarville, there. I saw that one. So it looks like Sierra West is a bunch of their 3D printed printing. Their deal is 15% off over $75.
And their stuff is incredible.
Yeah, it's very high quality 3D printing. If you're interested in these dozers or the tractors and stuff. So this is so here's their 3D printed tractor. So you basically on this you can save 15%, so about $6. right at $5 on the O scale. That's interesting. The difference between O scale and HO is only 10%. That's an unusual difference.
Yeah, usually the O scale stuff's a lot more.
Yeah, usually O scale is kind of double because the volume of material, et cetera, is double. But so yeah, there are some good buys out there.
Okay, Phil, I need to break away.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna call. I think we're just gonna call it for this one. This was a short one. Like I said, the biggie is getting everybody aware that the auction's next Sunday. Hopefully, everybody will be around for it and be able to come, and we will go from there.
Hey, Phil, just FYI, I'm on an airplane next week, returning just before Christmas. So I'll catch up with you later in the month about being able to do a clinic in February with maybe Seth.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, if there's nothing else, I'm going to bid everybody adieu. Everybody have a great week, and hopefully we'll see you next Sunday.
All right.
Thanks for a good meetup, Phil.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Bye.